Information fueled.
Opinion driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, the 997 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Everywhere I look this morning, liberal tears are flowing. Have you noticed that? Whether it's illegal immigration here in Nashville or whether it is Ilhan Omar out there in Washington, D.C. about USAID, they are just crying a river all over the place. This is Ilhan Omar. We'll get to the illegal immigration stuff here in Nashville, but this is Ilhan Omar, and she's really upset over all that money that President Trump and Elon Musk are going to cut or have cut from USAID.
We get to decide. We have the power of the purse. We get to decide where money is allocated, and it's the executive's power to make sure that that money gets to where it needs to get.
You know, my general rule in life is if you're pissing off Ilhan Omar, you're probably doing something right. Now, if you've been keeping up, this agency, USAID, but it's not really aid, but they've been giving away money for years. And now Donald Trump and Elon Musk, basically what they're doing is they're shutting it down. The reason why they're shutting it down is because basically, number one, it's really corrupt. And number two, all this money, millions and billions of dollars, is basically going to woke crap in other countries. So Congressman Jamie Raskin is also out there as well, losing his mind.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people.
So let's talk about, because you just heard Jamie Raskin, let's talk about the part for the American people. Because basically what happens is we've got this money, taxpayer money, and our government uses this money and they use it for a whole bunch of different stuff, right? They use it as a bargaining tool with other nations to try to facilitate some sort of either regime change or policy change, maybe change culture, maybe change their laws, especially, by the way, under Joe Biden. And a lot of these things are things that simply the American people don't agree with, and it's not in our best interest. And we're talking about $50 billion, this independent governmental agency, USAID. And so Elon Musk, as part of DOGE, he finds out about all this. He just, he starts looking into all of this stuff and he realizes, oh my Lord, where is our money going?
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
Look, she's right. You know that we, through USAID, Joan, that we gave $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq?
What?
$20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq.
That's insane.
$56 million for a tourism boost in Egypt and Tunisia.
Okay.
Of course, we've spoken about the condoms for the Taliban. They used them for terrorism. That was sort of one of the opening salvos in all this, I think. They put bombs and explosives in these condoms. DEI scholarships in Burma. And so Elon gets in there as part of DOGE. And again, he starts sort of looking around and clearly him asking for transparency and him digging around was not welcome within the hallowed offices of USAID. And they really pushed back. And I just played you the audio. I mean, the Democrats had this, well, I'm not going to call it there's a couple of hundred people there, but this massive rally in Washington, D.C., where they were complaining about Elon Musk and Donald Trump basically ripping away those purse strings from Congress and from the Democrats. And so Elon, this independent agency, he is telling us that it is far from transparent. And here's the reason why. The reason why this agency is far from transparent and is fighting transparency at every cost, at every move, is because when the American people find out what it is our money is being spent on, the American people, kind of like what you just did, Joan, $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq. What? Yeah.
Isn't that what we wanted DOGE for in the first place?
Absolutely.
To root this out.
That is exactly why people voted for Donald Trump. And so he was asked about all this yesterday.
Well, it's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
And so all these radical lunatics show up for work yesterday, and it's like the classic scene where it's like the doors are locked and they can't get into their computers at home. I mean, it is locked down. There's like maybe a dozen or two, a couple of dozen employees there. They call them select employees that are there right now. And so all these Democrats show up at the headquarters of USAID, and there's nobody there. And the doors are locked, and they're not allowed to come in. And so now Secretary of State Marco Rubio is taking control. But you've got a lot of contractors that are not being paid. They're out of work. Stop work orders for grant recipients have also been issued. Full-time staffers are now out of work. They're, again, locked out of buildings and locked out of computers as well. You know how many employees this USAID has for, the dispensing of millions and billions of dollars to foreign nations for things like Sesame Street and DEI initiatives in their workforces? 10,000 employees positioned all over the world. That is what USAID does. And so now you've got all these folks on the left, and Jamie Raskin and Ilhan Omar and all of these people raising holy hell and going after Elon Musk.
And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him.
Golf clap. Is it just me or does Jamie Raskin, he needs to work on that passion. He needs to work on this. We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore, because he's not exactly firing up the troops.
We're going to stop him.
Yay. Yay, Jamie Raskin.
It's as exciting as when Jeb Bush said, please clap. It's the same vibe.
That is a Jamie Raskin please clap moment. He didn't say it, but there's probably somebody out there saying, okay, now's the time. Come on. Yeah, that's exactly right. Come on. It's like us, quite frankly, at an event, sometimes the crowd can be kind of shy. And so we have to tell them to clap. It's the same thing. And so the Democrats are, really angry with all of this. And again, personally, I'm enjoying all of this because we just told you what USAID does. But here's the thing. We've only been telling you about the really lame, stupid DEI kind of stuff. $20 million for Sesame Street. How much are puppets, by the way, that they got to spend $20 million on it? Good Lord. But some of the regime change stuff that they've done across the world is really nefarious. We're going to talk about that straight ahead. 99.7 WTN. More from Golf Clap Raskin. Golf Clap Jamie Raskin.
And just like the president who is elected to something cannot impound the money of the people, we don't have a fourth branch of government called Elon Musk. And that's going to become real clear.
Thanks, Jamie. So the USAID battle. Now, again, we just talked about what exactly USAID does. The independent agency started way back in 1961 under JFK. And clearly, and I've just explained to you, they have lost their focus. Now, under the current Democrat Party, we've just told you a few of the things that they have spent our billions of dollars on. Now, and this is per year, by the way. Now, a lot of these people will say, well, it's only 1% of the federal budget. It's not about the percentage. It's the point. Because I'd be really willing to bet that there's a lot of communities across America that could use some federal aid when it comes to their own infrastructure, when it comes to their own schooling. So don't tell us this BS about how, oh, it's only 1% of our federal budget. That doesn't matter. Part of what they're trying to do, they're trying to, and I'm going to air quote this, spread democracy all over the world. But what they're really doing is wasting the money.
$20,000 a pop to do drag shows in Ecuador. Shall I continue with more examples of where DEI was the priority?
It certainly seems like there could be a review of things. Foreign aid, as you know, is less than 1% of the entire federal budget. So we're talking small amounts of money by comparison.
That is so arrogant. Isn't that arrogant? Like,
you can hear in her voice.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
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 It's like a well, Dan kind of thing.
Oh, Marsha Blackburn's going to be joining us at 6:36. So this is, that was Margaret Brennan, by the way. And as far as it only being 1% of the federal budget, it doesn't matter. At least to me, clearly it doesn't matter. What USAID really does is they meddle in the world's business. This is Ron Paul.
USAID is a key component of the U.S. government's regime change operations worldwide. USAID spends billions of dollars every year propping up NGOs overseas that function as shadow governments, eating away at elected governments that the U.S. interventionists want to overthrow. Behind most U.S. foreign policy disasters overseas, you will see the fingerprints of USAID. From Ukraine to Georgia and far beyond, USAID is meddling in the internal affairs of foreign countries, something that would infuriate Americans if it was happening to us.
You could just hear, that's Ron Paul, that is Rand Paul's father. And it's so funny when I was pulling that audio, you could just hear Rand Paul's intonation and just the tone of his voice in his father, Ron Paul. And by the way, he is absolutely right. Coming up before the news, Joe Jones has the news coming up at 5:30. But before that, we've got a few minutes. I'm going to play you one more audio bite of Ron Paul and this notion that USAID, part of what they do is they try to work to overthrow governments across the world. And this is a very big deal, and we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead.